Sure is a pretty day here at PoorBoy Homestead. All the new green and new blooms is so encouraging to see. This yellow plum tree here, I thought it was dead from the winter. It looked miserable, but I'm seeing all kinds of nice little blooms on there and some flowering. I don't know if y'all can see that, but so that's exciting to me because I thought it was dead. There's a lot of things going on around here. Everything's looking so lively and pretty. We're gonna look at those muscadines and see what's going on there. What you're seeing here is a bronze muscadine vine that I had purchased at a nursery about an hour from here, and it's looking marvelous. I did not do a whole lot of pruning to it because they already had it basically single stemmed, and I just took a little bit off of it back earlier in the year. And over here was something I got at Lowe's on clearance, and it turned out to be about 3 vines or more, and I never separated it. I did do some pruning, but you see I did not do enough. I was conservative with it. So there are some canes in there that probably need to be taken on out. But it is vining and going like crazy. And I'm hoping that it's productive despite of me and my conservative pruning. I'm hoping to have some muscadines this year. So between the two of them, maybe we will. Now y'all see my yard cats. The garden cat Cash and Mittens, my magnificent hunter. They're enjoying the sunshine and the birds. And they're listening out to see what they can catch. Over here is a grapevine that I had gotten for $3 last year, I think, on clearance. And I had two. I had one at the other end of this trellis, but it did not make it. However, I planted a scuppernong seed. Back at the winter, when I was doing the video on scuppernongs, I saved some seeds. And I planted a couple just to see if I could get it to grow, and it is growing. So I put it out here a couple weeks ago. We'll see if it catches hold in vines. I'm not worried about cross-pollination because there are so many wild muscadines and scuppernongs that it would be hard to keep it from cross-pollinating anyway. So I'm not doing it for the purity. I'm just trying to do it to see if I can get something to grow and have some fruit for personal use. Not something I'm going to be sharing or selling for sure. But as you can see, things are looking good around here, and we're just going to walk around a little bit at the homestead and show you what I've got going on so far. I need to do some weeding and more landscaping around this old tree, but I'm excited because there's actually some comfrey that has survived and come back. I thought I lost all my comfrey last year, but I got a couple. And hopefully, since these are in the more shaded side, they'll survive and do well this year and keep growing. The ones on the front side of the tree, I lost them. They've not come back. So I had them planted all around the tree. Was just going to make a whole big thing, but at least these are doing, so I'm excited about that. These are some of the ones that I had gotten from Mr. Charles, the old Alabama gardener, back at the GAHC conference last May. So now we'll walk towards the blueberries. I had 5 blueberry bushes, and 4 have survived. 1 has not, but it was a little tiny one that Walmart had on clearance for like $1 or something, so it's not a big love loss. But I've got some blueberries starting to come up here and there on these bushes, and I gave them a good drink last week after a heavy rain of an acidic type tea that was composed of eggshells and coffee grounds. And as you can see, this is the blueberry tree that my friend had air propagated and gave to me last year, and I planted it, and as you can see, it's doing well. So hopefully we'll get some production out of it. And the others, they're young, they've only been in the ground for a season, so I'm proud of that. My moringa tree that I pruned back did not do anything, but I've got more seeds, so I'm gonna pull that little booger up and start over. Got some blackberry vines. Y'all see we've got fire ants bad. I've got to do something about that. They're attacking everything that I have. But the blackberries, thornless blackberries, I had purchased 2 last year, and they're hanging in there too, blooming, growing. I had pruned them back to 1 cane. I've got to get a better trellis system going on for this one for sure. This one's still tiny. I want to get a few more of these going, but I did not want to spend money on fruit trees at this time. I was really working on the garden this year, so I try to budget out. I'm not very good at budgeting, but I do try to budget out where I want to spend my money at when I'm going to spend it. And you'll see these jugs, and Maggie's being nosy. She's pointing it out for you. The jug has sand in it, and what it does is it catches rainwater and then drips through that little funnel to give it a little dose of water every so often when we have rain. Other than that, I don't water these unless it's way into the summer and it's drought. So that brings us here to the garden. I overlooked the fig trees, but they're greening up nicely too, so we may look at one of those in a little bit. But the garden is doing well. Got lots of tomato plants going. Got some cucumbers on this trellis that have come up. As you can see there's a couple different ones throughout this trellis. These are the market moors, so hopefully we'll get some nice slicing cucumbers. On this trellis, this is the longer ones that we put up. I've got some heirloom butter beans that are sprouting. Oh, cash kitty. Can you see that with my big shadow? So they're coming up, and I'm excited. It's going to be heavily laden on these trellises, so I'm excited about that. These are peppers all across the garden. Different sweet peppers over here. These rows right here are Kalima green beans, and they're starting to sprout as well. So I'm excited about that. Got a couple little eggplants. More beans sprouting. I love seeing that. It's just amazing to me. These are some lemon squash. And down on this trellis is the Muncher Cucumbers. And they're trying to come up too. I see a few little bitty baby ones coming up across through there. And different little squash going on. And on phase 2 garden is where we start with hot peppers. On that arch trellis going into phase 2 is going to be scarlet runner beans. And I don't see any sprouting yet, but they've not been there long enough probably. So hopefully they'll come on. And as we walk through that trellis, There's hot peppers here and all through here beside the elephant garlic. Won't be long, it'll be time to get that out. But you can see I've got several hot peppers going on. And down here, for pollinators and looks, I've got some calendula coming up. And you see those sprouts. The way the sun is hitting this, I can't really tell if I'm getting it or not. Maggie, you need to get off the plastic. Got some small wonder spaghetti squash coming up. Got that at Hoss Tools. Y'all know I'm a big fan of Hoss right now because everything that I've done with them's worked. So I'm excited. Got some butternut squash. This row that doesn't have anything yet is yellow prolific squash. And so they should be popping up any moment. Got some zucchini. Oh, how exciting! Y'all see these babies on these 2 rows? This is zipper peas that I got from Miss Patty at Southern Blessed Homestead. And then on the Hortonova trellis is some rattlesnake beans I got from Hoss, and they're popping up nicely too. And Maggie's walking right where I planted okra on the other side of the trellis. It's very exciting to see the peas coming up. This one particular row here is still vacant. It doesn't have anything in it yet. This row has got some red potatoes. I've never grown potatoes before either, so I'm trying that. Didn't want to grow a whole lot. We don't eat a whole lot of potatoes, but I did want to try it. So I've got those healed up under there. We'll see what happens. And if that works out good, next year I'll do more potatoes. And right now it's just exciting to see all the new sprouts. I love it. All these wonderful little rattlesnake beans. They're coming on. And hopefully this trellis will be strong enough to hold it. If not, I'll put some extra supports there. But as you can see, and I'm trying not to make you drunk, the garden is greening up. And when all these pumpkin vines through here, squash vines and zucchini and stuff, not pumpkin, squash, it's all squash, spaghetti squash, zucchini, yellow squash, butternut squash, then all this area will be full of green. So it looks a little bearish now, but it won't. Then we've got these hot peppers. Got this beautiful fish pepper with variegated leaves. It's hot out here today, so they're all looking a little thirsty, but by this afternoon they'll perk up. Got some ghost peppers from Mr. Holland Higgs of Higgs Rock Farm in Kentucky. They're so pretty. Anxious to see this arch trellis in full bloom. That's going to be nice with the scarlet runner beans. They're really pretty. And then the trellis on the far side over there has got cucumbers on it. Pickling cucumbers that I've done for the neighbor. She does all that pickling, I don't. And so hopefully they'll start sprouting up soon. I'm not seeing anything yet, but that's okay. It's all just been done recently. So y'all can see the grass needs cut. There's some weed eating to be done. We'll get this place shaped up this week. I'm going to give you a little teaser. You see over there behind the trailer, Terry's car hauling trailer where we've got pallets thrown up. I'm going to make some trellises out of those pallets. But the shady spot is what I'm wanting to show you. See that whole area of shade? That is the future site of the chicken coop. Whenever I get all that done and stuff, it'll be here because this is the only area on the property that has a good quantity of shade all day long. And so even if the coop is kind of smallish, I'll have this fenced off with a good area for them to have a run and keep them in the shade. And y'all can hear the birds. They love it. Lots of birds over in this area. Got some extra pallets down there I can use for something. The little building that I had wanted to purchase and put back here for the chicken coop has been sold. And the price wasn't right anyway. So God knows all about that. And but this is the future site of the chicken coop. Just got to come up with a creative name. I found a few that I like, or come up with a couple, but we won't reveal that until it's time to reveal the coop. So hopefully that'll be getting done this year. I hate that I've procrastinated this long, but like I said, have to budget your money where it's needed the most at the time. And for me, this year, it was needed most in this garden. I needed the drip irrigation. I needed the weed fabric. I'm getting too old to spend time weeding like I did last year. It took 4 days to weed this garden last year, every time, because of having to go in and tend to Mom too. I just couldn't spend that kind of time out here, but I needed more production, so we did the weed fabric. It's not as pretty as last year, but it's more about production this year than pretty, for sure. So that is your update for this week in PoorBoy Homestead, the garden, and around the property. Thank you for watching. Please hit that like and subscribe button.